The table-mounted router is an amazing accessory to any workshop and can open up a new range of ideas and working practices and can be safer to use. At Axminster, we have worked hard to develop and create one of the best range of router tables on the market. There are a number of options available within this range, allowing you to design and suit the table to your requirements. So let's have a look. So within the range of tables, we have two options. So the stands are the first thing to look at. So we have the professional, which is a floor stand table. We have the compact, which is ideal for a bench mount. Both use 2mm thick plate steel. The professional has really strong square section tubing. Again, got this lovely section here on this right angle. Very strong, very rigid. Other things with the Pro, we have a caster wheel system, so you can move it about nice and easily. Unlocks, drops down. They both have adjustable anti-vibration feet, so you can unwind them to level it, but also absorb that vibration. On the Pro, we also have the cutter tray, so you can store cutters in the side. Lots of different things on there. Last thing, really a bracket so you can put a mitre fence on. There are two tabletops available for each of the tables. So for the Pro and the compact, there are two options of what you can choose. So the first one we've got is the heavy-duty cast iron. This will dampen down vibration, add stability to that already stable work surface. It's flex-free and very flat. So these are ground to a dead flat finish. They have number of fixing holes and underneath and all these heavy duty ribs. So this is the compact one, very thick top. These are 40mm thick. All these rib lines add a lot more strength. The recess point, the bolt holes around here for the adjustable screws so you can adjust the insert plate out, make sure it's nice and level. So accurately machined will give you a nice work surface. In the top there's a 19 and a 9mm T-slot on both tables, even on the smaller one. Okay, the other tabletop option is the birch ply formalic laminate. This is very stable, a smooth flat work surface so the timber will glide across it easier. It's lighter in weight so it's easier to move about. So it's a better option if you're moving site to site. Okay, top on here we've obviously got the laminate, the birch ply. The birch ply is inch thick, so nice and stable as we've said. Underneath, everything is pre-machined and fitted so it bolts directly onto the table. You get the adjustable bolts so you can adjust the insert plate out, get that nice and level. You have a little lock nut. Again, everything is on there. When we drop it back down, you've got the recess on the front, so let's tilt it up. You've got the recess on here for the insert plate. You have your T-grooves again for the T-slots. So you have 19 and 9mm, so everything will fit in there nicely. Even on the compact, exactly the same. Everything nicely bolts on, ready to go. Okay, once you've figured out which tabletop, it's a case of fitting the fence. This is so simple. So on the little compact one, we can tilt this up. You've got your bolt holes that go down through here. You bolt them on either side. This is all adjustable as well, so we can adjust from the nut fitting. They slide up and down so you can get it dead level with the fence. So easy to do. Our fence. Turn this round so you can have a look. So first of all, this is a right angle aluminium extrusion. This has got two 9mm T-bolt fittings to allow accessories to bolt on. The handles are lovely and high, so they clear the top of the fence, give you really good access. Bring this back round the front a minute. The fascias are adjustable, so you've got 3 knobs on the back. We'll turn it back round. You can open and close those, so depending on the size of the cutter, you can adjust that opening. Turn this right round so we can see the back. Those nice long handles, the 3 knobs that lock the fascia boards, the clear extraction housing so you can see what's happening on there, make sure things go up the pipe. It's right in behind the cutter, so you're getting maximum use out of that. The 63mm accessories will fit straight onto there, so really easy to plumb that into your pipe fittings. We turn this back round. How does this sit onto the table then? Those nice long handles, you have the nut that will fit into our groove. Undo the nut a little bit, push it in. Other side. So we have our tabletop on. Now the beautiful thing with this is this fixes either side, so we can bolt it down. Doesn't have to be parallel, we're working off a straight cutter or a round cutter along that point. So we can even use one point to pivot off of. Really easy to do, but by fixing both sides, it stays exactly where you want. There's no risk of any flex. Other little things on here. The height is 95mm, so it actually gives you lots of support, very high. But the most important thing, that handle is so accessible. Okay, having got your table, your fence, now you can decide on which insert plate. So there is 6mm aluminium, so this is a single piece of aluminium, all pre-drilled to accept and go into the table, levelling screws in the corners, the fixing holes. The other 2 holes we'll run through in a minute. Insert plates, they drop in and lock in a single twist. That locks that in, that reduces the hole size, so improves your extraction and stability across the table. So 6mm alloy, 10mm formalic. Again, all the same features, the lock-in plate, a little bit thicker. Next one is a 10mm aluminium plate. The back is all recessed. We have an insert plate that then fits onto the bottom of the router. So this bolts on, this loads into the groove. Come around that screw. Okay, the other bolt will go on, we tighten up, you fix your router onto there. So that's a quicker option. These 2 you need to drill to fit your router. You can use the base plate off the bottom of your router. There is an insert plate that also comes with this and tells you how to drill it. The last option is the elevator. So it has a similar fitting to what we've just looked at on the 10mm plate in underneath. You have the table that fixes to, so that bolts in. You have the insert plate that drops into the top of the router table. So we'll put that in a second and show you. That bolts in. The idea of this is that you can raise your height up and down by moving the handle. So this will raise and lower the router. So your router is fixed in underneath. You can bring the cutter up and down just on there. Once you've set your height, you have a lock position. So really a case of figuring out which insert plate you want, how you want to adjust things. The other 2 holes we said about the insert holes. So you have a little nylon pin that will screw in. So this is basically an in-feed or an out-feed pin to get you safely onto the workpiece. So that's what that one does. These insert discs, there are a number of different sizes. So these are accessory ones. They have a variety of different holes. So you go from right down through a number of different sizes. So you can do lots of different things. The last one, quite important. You can use guide bushes in this with a threaded style guide bush into the back, lock it on. So one really good example for that is the R9 dovetail jig by Lee. Works on a guide bush, use it on the table. Has got to be central, that's a really good way of working. These aren't quite big enough. With them being formalic, you can easily machine them out yourself, so you can actually enlarge that hole quite easily. So that gives you your 4 different insert plates that will bolt in. Okay, so once you've got that insert plate, you've fitted your router to it, you need to drop it in and level it out. So all we've really got to do, put it in, drop it down. You get 2 bolts, go either side, they're countersunks, they're fitting there nicely. Be nice and flush, pull everything central. So just tighten those up. Okay, so I've tightened that down. Now to level anything out around the edge, you have all these little grub screws you can adjust. So by tightening, I can push the plate up. By undoing it, I can drop it back down so I can get it flush with the table. So you just work round them. So I put a bit of pressure on that one. I brought the plate up. This side need to come up a little bit. Again, you can put a straight edge across, just check how that lines up. So really easy to adjust that out. Once done, just obviously tighten your 2 little bolts a little bit more. Okay, there are also adjustable bolts from underneath that you can wind up, they lock in place as well. So you can use the mixture of the 2, get everything really level, really accurate. So that's a really nice setup. So we're done. Our elevator plate, again, as we said, this will wind everything up and down from there. So really accessible on the top of the table. So now we're going to look at the accessories. First one, fine adjuster for the fence. So this is a bolt-on unit, goes on the back of the fence. There is one either side, they are labelled, right and left, quite important. So we undo the bolt, tear that down. This assembly slides in, down into that groove, forward. We don't need the washer now, and we lock back into our bolt we have there. So if we move our fence, we can go from there, fine adjuster, we can lock off on the back one, tightens it down, undo here, we can wind this forward and back on that thumb screw. Really easy to operate, but it gives you a lot more control than just trying to do it freehand by undoing the main knob. Once you're happy, lock it back up. So that's our fine adjuster. one either side again, so you've got a lot more control. Other little features with our fence at the moment, we can see we have a number scale which we can move. It's a really nice time to try and show you. Little lock knob, so we can actually line this up with the cutter. We can use it precisely to move forward and back. So there are a number of accessories that fit onto the table. They fit onto the T-slots, the grooves. This is actually a standard piece that comes on the fence. This is a protection bubble, really. So we put that in. I'm playing with a little black bracket that's in behind to get that in. So the T-slots and the bolts fit in. We slide that along. So the idea of this one is a safety screen that fits over where the cutter is. We can tighten it up. We can adjust the height up and down. So depending on the height of the cutter, you can use it different ways. Occasionally I even turn it over, have the bubble higher. So let's take that one back out of the way. The other thing that's really useful, things like feather boards. So these are a spring-loaded nylon. Again, they're adjustable in height, so the bolts will move up and down on the slots. So we have vertical ones that will fit into the fence. So we can bring those down. We can use them in line with the cutter. We'll tighten the bolts up. We have horizontal ones. These fit into the table, so they fit into the 19mm groove. We can move those in. We can lock those down. So the other nice thing with the horizontal ones, we can also double stack them. So this is two together with a spacer. I'll set those up in a second and show you where they're really useful. At the moment, the setup we have there, to give you a better idea, we pull the table round. If you're doing something that's quite a long length, it's really useful to have the two feather boards set up. So you're putting pressure now into the table, into the fence. We can also adjust this so we can come down and it'll put pressure down onto the table as well. So my piece of wood actually, even if I'm stood back away from the table, is being pushed into where the cutter is. Gets rid of the danger of where my hands are, well out of the way. So if we slide these back off, and we go with the double stack ones, again, they load on exactly the same way, the longer bolts come in the pack. We can use these in line with the cutters. So if you're doing something like a really high skirting board, a little bit of pressure in my hand, again, they're putting the board up against that nice high fence. There's no risk of the board falling over. My hands are nowhere near the router cutter, so a lot safer. Really good little accessories. Another accessory we do is a lamp stop. So again, this goes onto the T-track on the top. Undo the bolt a little bit, pull it over. Now, you could have two. I use them occasionally down the far end here. So I'm doing a groove in a board for a jewellery box. So I want to cut a straight groove all the way through. Don't want to come through this end. I need some way of stopping. So the reason I said I have two, I have one on the back edge so I can push it down onto the cutter, move it all the way through. Then the other board, we've got the cut here. I'd actually want to start on the front, come all the way through, up to my stop point, lift the board up. So really useful. The nice thing is that hinge, so that you can move it, you can open that up and down. We can position them anywhere. That retractable hinge works so nicely. Makes it quick and easy to set up. That's our lamp stop. Another accessory we do, which is very unique, no one else seems to do one of these, an extraction box that fits underneath the table. So we have the compact top upside down. The extraction box has a hinge door for access, has an adjustable vent hole to allow a bit of airflow, a 4-inch outlet with a 63mm pipe that connects straight onto the main fence. So if we turn this over, the bolt holes are already there. This literally bolts down underneath any of the tables. So your router will be inside, you get your dust port on the back. So that's taking the dust away from under the router and above at the fence point. Very unique. Okay, another accessory that will fit onto here nice and easy is an NVR switch, a no volt release switch. So in other words, your start stop button is here. You plug your router into the socket in underneath. Now this is primarily designed to fit on the Pro table. It could be adapted probably to fit the compact, but this bolts onto the side. So the screws go through, Let's grab the screwdriver. Making this look more complicated because I'm trying to keep myself out of the way of the camera. We bolt this up. We can adjust the height. We can do our other bolt. It's really easy actually to fit this on. Now this is a really good safety device because if anything happens, you want to turn it off. There's nothing worse than having an accident and you can't reach the router. You've got the extraction box, start, stop button sealed, but that's improving the extraction for you. So that's your MBR switch. The table extension arms are really useful accessory, especially if you're doing longer stuff that's reaching out the front of the table. It helps support things so you haven't got to fight with it. So the bracket bolts again in underneath the table, the fixing holes are there. There's a lock bolt. So this is designed, therefore we can drag this forward, we can lock it back up either end. And basically it's going to support your piece of wood whilst you're working. Give you the scenario, that's quite a long piece of wood we've got on there. A bit tulip, let's take that off. We'll put our arm back in. Makes a lot of difference. Gets over those sort of danger problems of you trying to concentrate on what you're supporting. The bigger the table, the better. That extends the height and the length, much better way of working. Okay, so there's a very extensive range of products that we do within that range for the router tables. So if you go cast iron, Formalic, doesn't matter which size table, compact, pro, kind of up to you and what space you have. I have the view the bigger the table, the more it will support your workpiece. A couple of other little things we do. We do an insert table and a work table that can also be bolted onto the stands. So this goes with some dog systems, a gluing up table, a work table. Go with your skill saws, guide rail saws, really useful. Again, you can easily swap those over. But a very extensive range of different router tables and accessories. Hopefully gives you a better idea of what to buy, how to get them.